Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to check the fresh release from Miniart, and it is interesting because it's Austin armored car from 1918, and as you can see we get the British service Dunsterforce version in 135 scale, which should be quite a build, I would say, because it's not only the external features, it's also the interior features as well, which are included here, and in 135 scale it should be an interesting project to work on, so that's why I decided to take a closer look. And as you can see, the kit number is written there, it's 39023. So first of all, we have quite nice box art, and I would say the design of the box and size of the box is typical for this brand. Here you can see comparison with my hand. And as for the Austin plastic itself, it's not exactly fresh or completely new because it was released before by the same brand. I reviewed all of the previous versions, so now we are checking the latest one. And here on the side of the box you can see the address of the manufacturer and also some safety advices, while opposite side has three marking options which are included here. We also have the small sign that decals are coming from cartograph, and that's pretty much all what is included here. It's a top opening box, and here's what we have inside. As you can notice, there is plenty of space, so I don't think the parts will arrive damaged to you, but well, it's always good to ask seller to carefully pack everything, and then you have a better chance to get everything intact. So it's a sealed plastic bag. I'm just going to need a second in order to open it. In the meantime, I can remind you that I just say that I reviewed the previous versions, and you can find all of those videos and the review articles on the same YouTube channel which you are watching at the moment. And in my opinion, it's worth checking them because there were also quite interesting boxing options. So if you're wondering on what to choose, it's worth checking all of the possible variants. Okay, so first of all, on the top we have the small envelope here. So as you can see, it's with the Miniart logo, and we have unpainted P thread here. So I would just place it like this, and let's zoom in. And as you can see here, we have this unpainted P thread, as I said. We have a lot of parts here, and you can also see the comparison with my fingertips, so it's not exactly large parts, and that's why it might be a good idea to have sharp tweezers, because otherwise it will be a small nightmare to get them into the right spot. So definitely get the right tools, and this way the whole process will be easier and faster to manage. So that will be my quick tip. But usually P parts from Miniart, they're very good in terms of quality, so I guess this one is not an exclusion from this rule. It's just a matter of careful installation on the model, and you will be good to go. Next, I'm opening the separate plastic bag with the clear sprue and decals. So here I would like to start with the clear sprue first, so just give me a moment. It's a sprue EC, and why it is interesting here, because we have the periscopes and also we have the lenses. So all of these lenses will be used for the various lights on the vehicle, and of course the molding quality is really nice, but as usual Miniart does not include any masks whatsoever, so in case you would like to have a nice paintwork, you have to cut your own stickers for the clear parts. Next we have the decals. So decals sheet is not that huge, and as you can see we have all of the necessary symbols. These are mostly white symbols, that's why they're not that easy to see on the bright light. But the printing quality is really good, and I mean it's cartograph decals, so there is nothing to say, and you know that you can expect a good quality level out of the box. Next we continue with the plastic sprue, which is one of the biggest here. So let's zoom out a bit and maybe also open the lenses a bit so that you can see the parts in a bit brighter view. So here we have the mix of parts. It's the leaf springs, for example, here for the suspension. We have large bars for the chassis. We have also even the headlamps. Here we have the radiator here. We have some parts for the suspension here and there. Also for engine bay there. And molding quality seems to be fine. Note that some parts are quite thin and feature a lot of attachment points. So you have to be careful while working with this stuff. And just to give you an example here, for example, you can see these thin bars, which look okay, but usually with the thin parts, it's very wise idea, I would say, to use the plastic sole, because otherwise you might end up with the broken parts, and it's really tricky to fix it later. Next, we continue with the, well, here is another good example of thin parts. So this long and narrow plastic sprue is actually dedicated to the mix of interior elements, and again you can see these thin bars which are attached on the several points. And at this moment I actually wonder if it might be worth replacing it with the metal wire, because this way you won't have to deal with the plastic parts cleanup. You just use the metal wire and you're good to go. But of course the final decision is after you. If you think and if you are able to add it so that the final result will look convincing, then why not? Next, we continue with the road wheels. So here we have the same set of parts. I will show you both sides simultaneously because they are actually supplied on the same type of sprue. So here you can see the wheel rims. The molding quality looks fine. And with such design, it means the separate wheel rims and also the tires, you will be able actually to paint them properly and avoid any masking templates. Next, I guess we can check the tires just like this in the plastic bag, because these are plastic tires. You can also check the features a bit closer, so if camera will focus now, you should be able to see. Here we have also some features on the tire walls, and in my opinion this is a very good looking add-on. It doesn't have the imitation of the weight effect unfortunately, but at least it should be easier to paint and weather in comparison with a typical vinyl offering which we are used to seeing in such kits. Next we have this sprue CK, so again in two pieces, so I will show you only one. And let's zoom out a bit. So here you can see we have the wheel fenders. We also have some parts for the interior, for example this seat and also the special stand for the seat, various minor handles, and again the minor is quite literal here, so you can see again the comparison with my fingertip. We also have some rivets here on the bottom section, so in case you would like to work on adding more rivets, then here is some fun procedure for you. But nevertheless, it will be quite tedious, so definitely take your time and maybe try to do it in several takes. Here we continue with the hull panels. So as you can see, some of the hatches and doors, for example, this is a door, they are molded separately so that you can open them. And I think in the interior kit it is actually quite useful because it will allow you to show what is inside. And as for the interior, it's quite plain, just like on the real vehicle, so that's why there is no surprise. Next, I continue with the turret parts. So there are two turrets on this armored car, so that's why we have two top sections with separate hatches. And nevertheless, they look quite fine. And here you can see them from the opposite side again. We have some features inside, so that's also quite good. Next, I would like to show you another set of the wheel. Actually, these are not wheel fenders, sorry. These are the turret sections. And you can also see the special gates for the machine guns. And let's flip it over. Here inside you will find, again, empty interior, only some few rivets here. And that's pretty much all you get, just like on the real vehicle. Next, we have the, again, set of identical plastic sprues, so that's why I will be able to show you both sides at the same time. So here you can see the machine guns for the turrets. These look quite nice. We have cooling jackets already pre-molded, so it's just a matter of careful painting, maybe even on the sprue and then just touching up the connection points. But again, it's your decision how you would like to approach this. I think even painting it once assembled might work as well. Next, we have another plastic sprue with the various panels. So here you'll find panels for the stowage boxes. We also have the wheel fenders, and everything looks quite alright. Of course, you won't be able to open the stowage boxes because, as you can see, they're molded in the closed position. And here on the opposite side, you can see that we have some interior features on the armor panels. As for the boxes, we have the clever parts design, so that those recessed angles, they will actually help you with the proper guidance of the parts between each other. Next, we have another set of panels for the stowage boxes, nothing special in my opinion. And one more is the sprue A. So here we have the various hull parts, so just give me a second to zoom out. And here you can see what I'm talking about. So first of all, here is the floor panel. Here we have some parts for the turret. This is the top section of the hull. Again, front view fenders. Here we have some walls for the outer hull panels. Again, these are side panels. And also here we have some bonnet panels as well. And I think it's more than enough in terms of the features. As you remember, we have also the separate rivets which can be installed onto the vehicle, but as I said, it will take a lot of time. And again, if I flip over the sprue, you can see that there are some interior features in all spots where they are necessary, so it's not like manufacturer was skipping on some stuff. Next, we have the assembly manual. So here we have assembly manual which is printed in color. This is quite large brochure, so I will just zoom out. And in terms of the information which we get here, so as you can see, we have decals for 4 marking options, and we have some of the features. Parts count is no longer written on the first page. Here we have the first marking option. As you can see, that's the vehicle from summer 1918, and that's the Dunsterforce armored car brigade from Mesopotamia. So quite an interesting vehicle. And again, you can see here already with some weathering in terms of this dust deposits. So it might be a good thing to try to replicate on your model. Next, we continue with the parts map. And assembly process starts with the main chassis. So as you can see, it's a matter of combining separate bars together. The engine is also included here, so it might be handy for some diorama ideas. And as you can see, manufacturer even gives you some suggestions for the wiring, which of course you have to replicate with your own metal wire. Next, we continue with installing this engine and gearbox onto the main chassis. Then we continue with more parts being connected to it, as well as the control elements in terms of the pedals. So here you can see these plastic parts, and actually manufacturer suggests that you can choose between the plastic parts or the metal wire, so that's actually a good option. And then we continue with the same thing from the opposite side. We start installing the armor panels and the wheel fenders onto the next steps. Here is the floor panel going into the place. Then you can see another panel going for the turret section, or the fighting compartment if you prefer. We have also the dashboard here being installed. And next we have the side armor panels being installed. So again, here you can see the separate rivets. So they will be installed or glued in place separately, as I said before, and it will take some time. So definitely pay attention to how they are being assembled. Next, we continue with more parts being assembled into this armor shell, which will be later installed onto the chassis, of course. So as you can see, we have the options for the open or closed frontal section, and I'm just looking that there is also another assembly option for the open or closed side door, also separate hatches which can be open or closed. And the same can be said about these bonnet panels, which is really cool because it gives you a lot of build options which might be useful for some diorama ideas, as I said before, or maybe just to expose what is hidden inside this vehicle. Next, we continue with some stowage being installed onto the vehicle. As you can see, some PE parts will be engaged in this, so be ready to do some bending. And here we continue with the machine guns being assembled into the turrets. Again, a lot of PE parts being engaged, and I can see that there will be also some angular install, so that's quite a work to do, but the final result should be worth it because the PE parts will actually give you a bit more up to scale appearance. And here we have the final assembly. So as you can see, this stowage box should be used only for the marking 2, 3, and 4. And as for the markings, here we continue with the second one. As you can see, it's actually the second and third. So here we have another vehicle from Mesopotamia, summer 1918. And the main difference is for the writings on the frontal section, as far as you can see. But that's not all. Here is the fourth marking option. So this one is from I'm trying to read it upside down. So Balochistan 1920, and as you can see again the green vehicle with the dust deposits. We have only one writing here in the frontal section and also on the bonnet, so it might be also an interesting option to replicate and play with the color modulation and weathering. As for the whole kit, it should be already available and you can get it in Modelimex webshop, and of course I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and